Welcome to Behind the Claw. We will be picking up where we left off last week. Last week was our premiere episode. Behind the Claw is taking over the time slot for Pirates of Dren X since we completed that campaign. We are starting Behind the Claw with Skandersvik. These guys have all secured crew positions aboard the merchant ship Skander and a merchant cruiser. It's what, 4,000 tons, I want to say. That's a big ship. I mean, relatively big ship. And they are embarking on a kind of round or half circle trip around the rimward side of the Sword Worlds Confederation. They'll be going through Darien space, and they're going through the Bowman Arm, and then up through the Metal Worlds and back into port on that side, the coreward side of or trailing side of the Confederation. And so they just well, at the end of the last episode, they made their jump to Spume. Spume. I don't know. Is it Spume? Which sounds equally ridiculous. But anyway, that is their first destination. They've made their jump. They are all spending their week in jump space, studying and doing their typical watch duties. And we're going to be diving into a little bit them getting to know some of their crewmates. Not the entire crew, because who's got time for that? I'm sure that they will. The various crew members will suddenly present themselves when necessary. Before we get started, we would like to point out that we do have a merch store via Zazzle. We've got T-shirts and hoodies and buttons and Whiskey Rocks glasses and beer steins and just all sorts of stuff on that store. And 100% of the proceeds from that store goes back into our channel and helps us cover the small subscriptions that creep up at the beginning of every month, such as Roll20 Pro or Incarnate Pro that we use to make some of the maps. And so if you would like to help us make ends meet, go get yourself a beer stein, and we appreciate everything that you do for us. Also, if you follow along with our Saturday campaign, we are running a 4th of July sale on all Braunhaven digital PDF books over on Drive-Thru RPG. They are 50% off through, I want to say, July 6th. Yes. And so if you're following along or you play Old School Essentials, there is an almost complete campaign. I'm still in the process of working on the finale book for that first campaign. And but everything else right now is 50% off, so go grab some PDFs. All right, so as I said, you guys are spending your time studying, your week studying. It's fairly boring. Jump space for any crew is going to be a fairly boring kind of situation. You know, you've got a week where pretty much all the windows are usually shuttered, mostly because there has been, and how much of this is true or not is really been left up to debate, but there are cases where people look out the windows into the morass of jump space and kind of go bibbledy over it. And then there's other people who look out the window and they're perfectly fine. So whether or not it's just, people feeling trapped in this miniature alternate universe, or maybe it's, just plain anxiety, who knows? But for that reason, most ships shutter the windows while they're in jump space. Drive space. Wow. That's from Alternity, and I haven't played that game in years. I don't know where that came from. Anyways, very similar game. And so you guys of course, in addition to doing your studying on your off time, you also are assigned watch shifts, and these could be anything. Um, doing a security patrol, making sure even so. Magnus Sundstrom, the owner of Skandervik, he hired everybody. Everybody went through the ceremony. There is a assumption that everybody is, we're all crew. That kind of thing. And sword worlders specifically have this esprit de corps kind of feel that there's an expectation that everybody's pulling their weight and that they are all working towards the the exploration mission, or exploration and trade mission, is everybody's working towards that end. But of course there is no 100% in any of that, and so of course in jump space there are occasional security patrols. Somebody will have watch duty. You walk up and down the corridors. You double check the inventory manifest for the cargo hold, things like that, making sure that nobody's pilfering anything. That's the usual thing. Those who are put on patrol watch are always allowed to carry a one firearm, usually something small, and a and if you so choose, you can carry a blade. And this is where we'll be starting with Svart Herlefsen. And Svart, you are. I'm making an assumption looking at this map. Maybe I'm. No, I am correct. You are down here you are in the process of checking the cargo bay, and you have been assigned to the watch with another young, ambitious young man named Lars Canerva. And Lars can best be described as a Magnus Sundstrom fanboy. He's a young guy. He grew up with tales of epic interstellar voyages, and he won't shut up about how excited he is about Skandersvik and about this mission. And he goes on and on about how he thinks that on this cruise he's going to be able to establish his reputation as a reliable and effective crew member, and he dreams and talks and talks and talks of earning enough on this mission so that one day he can buy his own ship, and and it's known that everybody on the crew pretty much knows that Lars has worked in other industries, but when you ask him directly, he's a bit cagey, and he won't state exactly what it was that he did or where. And Svart, you can make a recon plus social check.
My social's -1.
You're gonna be like, shut the fuck up about this.
Right?
My social is 6.
Well, I mean, honestly, Lars is probably around the same age as Svart, so I mean, they're both young guys.
6 is not -1.
It's 0.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 is a +0.
And
You might make
select is 11, so I can roll
Yeah.
+1.
Yeah.
Recon?
Yep.
What'd you say?
Recon plus social.
0 and 0 is 0.
Yep.
That is accurate.
But
Oh
hey,
my!
so in listening to Lars go on and on about this, and then kind of clumsily evade and change the subject whenever it is brought up, or questioned about what his past work experience is. Um, you can pretty much tell. You're able to determine that he kind of gets a little shy and anxious about it, but there doesn't seem to be that there's anything sinister about him hiding his previous work experience. It's more of a case that he prefers to keep those previous jobs to himself because they are all rather unimpressive. He worked, in factories. He worked as a delivery driver, and he just doesn't feel like um,
So he
I
worked for
deliver
Amazon.
pizzas. Yeah.
No, he worked for Amazon.
Yeah, he may have worked for Amazon. Um,
They're everywhere.
One thing about Lars is that he does have, and he has come into possession of a Holmgang sword, which is a basket-hilted broadsword. That's usually used in formal dueling in the Sword Worlds Confederation. And usually it's kept in the armory, but when he is on security detail, he likes to wear it on his belt because he believes that it gives him a air of the dashing adventurer, and I don't know. Svart might
And
agree
being
with him. Like, yeah, that's fucking
and
cool. I'm gonna get one
and
too, dude.
no, I just carry my long blade with me.
Okay, that works too. Yeah. So
I
yeah,
already got a long blade.
so these two young guys are carrying their swords, and most of the more mature crew members think it's all a bit silly. But so you end up meeting Lars and your security detail. You confirm the manifest for the cargo hold, and nothing seems to be afoot, and everything is working as intended throughout the week.
Good.
Up here
Did I
in
find any booze?
You did not.
Uh,
Actually, though, so this is.
Damn, I wanted some vodka.
So this
No,
is the.
I wanted some honey mead.
Yeah, that would be more around the lines of Sword Worlders, but this is a list of stuff that Skander it was carrying when they left Narsil. Um, and the ideas of most of this stuff is to trade them a bit, and it's not so much that this cargo is meant to make a whole lot of profit. So Magnus Sundstrom's plan isn't. I mean, obviously he's planning to make a profit here, but this stuff is more. He thinks longer term, so he might show up on a planet that has a farming community, and he's got 100 tons of common electronics, and he might sell 10 tons of that to a small town, a bunch of farmers, and he might sell it to them even at a loss-leading discount. And the idea behind that is that they will find some use for this, and then it will then generate a means of more trade in the future with them. So he's willing, in some cases, to take a loss selling stuff in order to gain that market in the future, which can lead to much further gains, profits. So, yeah, you check the cargo manifest. Everything's where it's supposed to be. Oh, wait. I forgot why I brought that up in the first place. So, this. There might be some liquor in the luxury goods.
Mhm.
There might be some mead in the samples. But other than that, I mean, unless you want rubbing alcohol, because they do have 100 tons of medical supplies, you know, the best in liquor that'll make you go blind. But aside from, yeah, there might be some in the luxury goods and in the samples, but not a bunch of it. You know, and certainly not for you. You don't want to. You wouldn't want to be caught this early pilfering from the cargo. But at the same time, or in this same week, this isn't happening all at the same time. This is throughout the week, but we will move to the Ford Common area, where Zerzy Atoll is kind of mulling things over. He's on a break. There are a number of other crew members in here. Zerzy, make a recon plus intellect check, and I am going to allow you to make this with a boon, because so that means you can roll 3 dice and you can take the 2 highest.
All right, so I click roll on recon intellect, right?
Yeah, I think there's a switch for boon at the top of the screen, I want to say. Let me take a look here.
Yeah, I can just roll an extra d6 if you want me to.
Yeah, either way. We've done it both ways.
All right.
The problem with
no modifier?
The problem, well, it's recon plus intellect. So whatever your intellect modifier plus your recon skill level is what the bonus would be.
I believe it's automatically.
The problem we've run into with the boon, when you click the boon to roll as a boon, you have to click it again to turn it off, and if you don't, then all of your subsequent rolls will be made as a boon. So it's kind of a pain. I wish it was set for once only. So okay,
and then here's the extra.
It gave you a boon.
Yeah,
bang
it showed you a boon
at the end.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like rolled a 5 and a 2.
You rolled,
and
5, a 2, and a 3.
And a 3 was the boon bane dice, so he would get a 10.
Right. Yeah, that's a weird. That's a weird way that it rolled that, but yeah, that works. So
I've been playing with it. It gives you that boon bane dice, but you still have to kind of. Dude, I can't find a place in the settings to turn that shit off.
yeah,
I've been looking.
well, and yeah, let me take a look here real quick. So, the character sheet.
Yeah, I mean,
Oops, I just broke my character sheet. I gotta refresh. Hold on.
It blew up.
Yeah, so I got a 10 then.
Yes, you got a 10. So, anyways, so you, there are a number of other crew members, of course, in the common area, grabbing something to eat and whatnot, just shooting the shit. There is, some low-grade mead available. Not a lot, but there's some kept in the coolers in the common areas. And so, when they're off duty or just taking a break, this is where they usually congregate, one of these common areas. And you notice, sitting in a corner, kind of by themselves, appears to be reading an old-fashioned book, like an actual paper book. And the reason why he jumps out at you, and this is your trained eye, having been a part of the Jordani Consulate's diplomatic corps. This guy is a natural at effectively going unnoticed. And if it wasn't for your trained eye, you wouldn't have really paid much attention to him. And so he's just sitting over there by himself, quietly reading his book, and nobody else seems to pay any attention to him whatsoever.
Am I able to read the title of the book, or is it too far away?
Yeah, it looks like he is reading oddly enough, it is a, kind of a Sword World Confederation, um, romance saga.
I'll keep my distance, but just occasionally look over and see if anyone else notices anything.
So, so actually, where are my, hold on, they changed my, yes, enable 3D dice. So you look over at him. It doesn't seem like, or you're keeping an eye on him. It doesn't seem that he has noticed that you are paying attention to him. But you do notice that every so often you note that he does look up over the edge of his book and like um kind of focuses on a couple of the crew members, and you can tell that he's kind of listening to what's being said, and then he goes back to his book, not to draw any attention to himself. All of this seems very natural to him. He would be what you would know through diplomatic channels and in the intelligence services. He's what would be known as a gray man. He is an individual that is exceptionally adept at not being noticed.
Trying to decide if I want to go say hi or not. I'll get up and walk over, and when I get fairly close, I'll just say, is that an actual paper book?
And he looks up and he goes, "Indeed, it is. And it is very old. I found it in a actual bookstore on Narlis." And he says, "Have a seat." And he introduces himself as Kurt Avos. He is a part of the crew, but he doesn't have a specific position in the crew. Kind of like Zvart. He basically runs around and does whatever needs being done.
Does he appear like normal dress or like really poorly dressed?
I
assume he's not any kind of noble or anything.
He does not appear to be a noble. He is wearing, mid-range casual kind of clothing. When I say mid-range casual, he's wearing a jumpsuit. Everybody is issued jumpsuits and uniforms for the scander, but he's wearing his duty jumpsuit, and he's got he's wearing a kind of a rawhide like leather jacket with a fur lined collar.
Okay. I'll just ask, you found that book. Have you found any other interesting items in your travels?
He says, I always seem to find something. He says, I've kind of bounced around all over the Sword World's Confederation, and this last time I ended up in Narsil, and he says, truth be told, I was a little bit down and out. I was on some of my last coins until Mr. Sundstrom hired me for this cruise. And he says, I went back. I was actually eyeing this book for a week before I got hired. And as soon as I got that 2,500 credit advance, Soldot credit advance, he says, I couldn't help it. I had to go back and buy the books. You notice it's quite the thick book too.
Oh, I will say that if you ever find any old Zodani things, let me know, and I may pay for them.
He says, "Oh,
Anything.
that would be quite excellent." He says, "I occasionally," he says, "I do occasionally run across some items that are in some of the pawn shops or up for trade that are from the consulate. So yeah, if I find something, I will let you know."
Thank you. And if you, I see you've been kind of watching people a little bit, which I don't blame you. These are some very interesting people around us.
He says, "Yeah."
Is there anybody?
He says, I find them occasionally amusing. Mostly I just listen so that I know kind of in the future, who's who and kind of what their background is. Everybody has a story.
Oh, I agree 100%. But is there anybody here that sticks out to you?
He says, "Not yet." He says, "Not yet so much." He says, "But it's still early." He says, I haven't had a chance to observe all of the crew yet." He says, "I'm sure that over the next month or more, more individuals will start to rise to the top and stand out."
I agree.
Well, then we will move to the bridge. Holger and Faye are doing watch duty together on the bridge. Now, Faye, if I remember, you were like sensors. Is that right?
I do have sensors, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you're on sensor duty, which is a really stupid watch duty, but they still do it, even on even in jump space. And the reason why I say it's a stupid watch duty is because there's nothing to see. You are in a private universe, that is an expanded jump bubble of hydrogen gas, in an alternate plane of existence, and so, um, there's the sensors reliably are not showing anything. I mean, you could adjust them and scan yourself. Holger, you are basically sitting in the lead pilot's seat, monitoring. I mean, this is equally stupid. You're basically monitoring, the jump field and everything that you get from from that console. There's no piloting to be done. You're just kind of sitting there with your feet up, watching the sensors. They've all been reading nominal for the past 6 hours.
Sure. Does Faye have computer skills?
No, not really.
Oh, I guess I have a little bit. Maybe I'd take the time to do a search on Spume and see what the computer has to say
Sure.
about Spume, and I will let Faye watch me do the computers. Like
Excellent.
the the guy that hired us, he made references that he wanted us to do investigations and gather information, and by Thor's heavy shaft, we ought to do that.
But will we get paid extra? Or is this just a bunch of work for his benefit?
I don't know.
So you got paid 2,500 credits. So everybody got 2,500 soldat when you signed on with the crew. When the whole thing is done and you make it to the final port, you'll get another 2,500 credits. You're also making 1,000 soldats per month as a wage just for doing your job. And then, and I need to double check this. It is at the end of the mission, in addition to the 2,500 credits that everybody will get. 5% of any profit that is made is then going to be divvied out to all of the crew. In addition to that, another 5% will be assigned to the most worthy personnel in a manner that is decided by a vote of all the crew. So there is a potential.
So
There is a potential that if you do really well, that and go above and beyond, you could make an additional 5% of the profit, and of course that doesn't have to be shared with anybody. So that whole 5% would go to one or sometimes one or two people. You might have to share it with one other person, but yeah, it's not like the initial 5% that's being divided by the all 45 crew members. This is for somebody who's really above and beyond everybody else.
okay. Well, I got a shot at that, I think.
Everybody does.
Right.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps, since it's just us here on the bridge, maybe we could team up and try to be the best performers and only a minimal amount of sabotage to our peers to give us that little bit of extra edge.
Well, that sounds good to me.
So, Spume, I can tell you what the computer knows about Spume. So, like right out of the gate, the first jump that you guys are making is out of Sword World Confederation borders and into the Darian Confederation. The Darians have a you could say that they have they are allies of the Third Imperium, and except you don't see a whole lot of Imperial ships in Darian space because the Sword World's Confederation kind of sits right in between the Darian Confederation and the Third Imperium. So there are some Imperial ships that will go down around the bottom through the Bowman Arm and into the rimward side of the Confederation, but not as much as you might see in other places. Spume is a minor possession of the Darian Confederation, and its only population of a little more than 400 people is a small enclave around the starport. And there are a few other tiny prospecting and mining outposts around the area. What you're looking at here is that you're not exactly sure, what Magnus Sundstrom has planned to do at Spume, because you're not seeing that there's any real trade to be done here. The world's economy is based largely on automated mineral extraction and any income that they make from ships that pass through the starport. Sword World ships that are heading into Darian space or leaving Darian space usually go this route. They go through Spume and then to Narsil. But from what you understand, that let's see, it is he in Spume. Magnus has already told the captain that they are. He's planning on giving the crew a 12-hour leave, or 12-hour 12-hour leave to go ashore while at Spume. And I mean, there's just not a lot here. It beats walking around the interior of a ship for you've been cooped up in a ship for a week, but there's just not a whole lot here.
I'll see if I can look through and if we got a limited time for fun, is or exploration or information gathering. I think I want to see if I can figure out a place I might want to go.
Let's see what is on Spume.
Anywhere to gamble?
Maybe.
I hope so. There's always unofficial places to gamble.
So Spume
Yeah.
does have a generic bar and steakhouse.
Oh, sweet.
They also have a torpedo bay that essentially caters to Navy personnel or crews of armed space vessels. Those are the two
That's
bigger locations for bars. There is a yes. There is also a merchant group called Kinsley Merchant Factors. They are basically an association of traders that mostly deal in buying and selling cargoes. Now, a lot of times that, at least at Spume, what that's going to mean is it's going to be mostly based on speculative trade, and the buying and selling of cargoes, these guys may not even actually see the cargo. They may buy a cargo from a ship, part and parcel, sight unseen, have it transferred to another ship, and have it go on its merry way, never having actually seen the cargo, or basically only going off of a customs inspection, and that's that. They're making the assumption, and this actually happens more often than you might believe in the real world. They buy and trade this cargo without even actually going and seeing it. So that's kind of what Kinsley Merchant Factors is doing on Spume. That, I mean, generic probably has a couple of slot machines.
No, better than nothing.
Yeah, video poker machines.
Yeah.
Aside from that, like I said, there's just not a whole lot there.
If they've got a large automated trading facility, man, I bet their computers have a lot of good information on what ships have come through and all that. That might be the information we could try to pick up to give to the owner, Magnus.
So while you guys are on watch, a couple of other people are on the bridge. They are so essentially this is the first jump that that Skander has made. And if you remember, there were a lot of people that were hired. Well, not a lot of people, but there were some. I mean, when you only have a crew of 45, I mean, 10's a lot. But there were some people that were hired and ended up not even waiting for the rest of the crew to get hired. They split and quit before they even boarded the ship. And part of the reason for this is that Skander had a bit of a unlucky, not bad, but an unlucky reputation. Her previous crews and previous owner ran into some problems. I think she was probably hit by some pirates. Kind of banged up, barely made it back to port, and with the cargo basically stolen. The owner of the ship ended up claiming bankruptcy and selling Skander for pennies on the mega credit, to which Magnus Sundstrom purchased it, and then basically out of pocket had the entire ship refitted. And so this is kind of the first jump since her refit. And that's, of course, always a big deal for the crew. But there are still, which is one reason why you're on the bridge monitoring jump bubble and the jump field schematics and whatnot, making sure everything's green. But there is engineering crews running around, and you guys meet. He announces himself when he comes in. His name is Lucas Sorensen. He is an experienced spacer, kind of in his mid-40s. He's not really outstanding in anything in particular, but he's got a really good. He's unflappable. He's got a really good attitude. He's willing to do anything that needs to be done. He's just a general space hand. But the reason why you recognize him is because it has quickly become obvious that he is going to be kind of the self-appointed scald of Skander, and he likes to compose epic poems about the doings of the crew, and some of them are hilariously mundane as he recites them, but with deep passion he recites these poems. And he has one rendition of the Trials of Carl the Drive Hand, a 30-minute epic during which the hapless Carl tries to eat his breakfast in between alerts, alarms, and can you just do this, please? And it usually ends up reducing most people in the common area to hysterical laughter. So I mean, he's there. He's kind of doing some adjustments on some of the electronics to the comms equipment that he was told to bring a team up here and make adjustments, and so that's what he's doing.
I guess we'll watch him.
Okay, yeah, he
We could really hide the information we're pulling up about Spume while he's in here.
okay. I mean, it's in the computer library data. It's available to anybody. It's not.
Yeah, but I'm not going to share with him. We're trying to be the top of the crew.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's all.
okay. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and make
You could just minimize the window, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
But go ahead and make a deception plus social check.
Oh, fuck. Here we go.
Let's see how cool Faye is about it.
Boxcars.
Pretty cool. So Faye shuts the library computer screen off, and he doesn't notice anything. He just goes about his business. Lucas is generally popular with the other crew, and it seems like he's well liked. But some of the crew seem to get a little bit irked because of some of his poems, because they will the poem will constantly remind them of any mistakes that can be made. So some of them might get a little bent, but down here in engineering, Casey is working, and he's been teamed up down here with a woman named Anna McKinnon. And Anna looks like she's probably around her mid-50s. But at the same time, she can make pretty much greasy coveralls look elegant. Like, it doesn't matter what she's wearing. She looks like she's ready to go to a ball. And she's a very, very competent engineer, but not necessarily very friendly. She seems to be quite reserved, and she doesn't seem particularly close to anybody. She kind of gives off the air of the employee that shows up and says, "I don't want to go to your birthday thing in the break room. I'm here to do a job and make money." That's kind of her attitude. But you are teamed up with her, kind of just going around and monitoring the power plant, handing her wrenches as she's kind of working. And so that's what Casey's doing.
Nice. So I guess I could try to make small talk with her. What, how'd you end up on this ship?
She basically she kind of stops turning the wrench, kind of looks at you, and she says that she says it's a job like any other. I saw the posting and it fit my skill set, and so here I am. She immediately then says that she doesn't make a habit of talking about her past or any of the other past ships that she's ever served on. She just says, not, I guess, like a little not necessarily rudely, but just point blank. She just kind of bluntly lays it out there that she's not interested in talking about her past.
All right, no problem.
But aside
So,
from
what?
no, go ahead.
Yeah. So, what about the job at hand? Is there anything I can do to help?
Yeah. So go ahead and your choice. You can make a engineering power plus intellect check, or you can make a mechanic plus intellect check.
Okay, I'll do engineering power.
Okay.
Oh, nice. That's a 13.
Okay. So you assist her and pretty much find her to be a generally agreeable workmate. She might not be all that likable, but she's fairly good at her job, and it does seem that you have impressed her a bit. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to find. I had another little notepad here. There we go. In fact, Zerzy and Casey rolled 2D. It's just a raw 2D.
I got
Well, that was
9.
low.
5. And you got a 9, you said?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I mean she's very impressed with your assistance and basically that pretty much that when she laid out that she wanted to talk about her past, you didn't bring it up anymore, and you just did the job at hand. That's impressive to her. And so um, she comes away feeling fairly impressed by you about that. Yes.
Nice.
Save that. So Scander, hold on here. The week goes by, and Scander comes out of jump in the Spume system. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 large gas giants, a bunch of several planetoid rings, asteroid belts throughout the system. Everything about the solar system just screams, mining event.
Yeah.
Magnus comes onto the bridge and with the captain and the first officer, and the captain tells Holger to set course for Spume. Of course, that will be. Now I have a question about what is the speed? Thrust 2. And the captain just says he tells Holger best speed for Spume main world. So Holger, you can make a piloting starship plus dexterity check, and what thrust? You have a maximum of thrust 2. In fact, I just had it, and I don't know why I didn't do that, but here you go. Here is stats for the merchant cruiser Scander.
I'm going thrust 2, a roll to 12. Haul it ass.
Okay, so you are your best speed, going all out balls to the wall for the main world.
Yeah, I'm gonna request, if I'd like a sensor reading if you don't mind.
Yes, and the captain then tells Faye. He says, "Let's go ahead and get a look of traffic in the system. You can make an electronic sensors plus intellect check."
Got 7.
Okay. Just a moment here. Here we go. Transit time.
We've been stuck in this fucking ship for a week. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
got to get the hell off,
I can't wait.
even if it's just a chance to walk around and look at stuff.
So at thrust 2, you are probably about 26 hours out at thrust 2. So another day at maneuver drive speeds, roughly, and you will be at Spume. Your scan of the system doesn't detect a whole lot. You detect there is a subsidized merchant, or I'm sorry, a subsidized liner in system. It is pinging as Glisten Advantage, and the only reason that it's popping up is because it is actually actively sending out its IFF code.
Oh. I just want to trade.
You're still a day away from the planet, Svart. You don't need to be all that. It doesn't take you that long to put on your gear. There we go. You do note that with your 7, so you didn't really pick up a whole lot of details, but so like I said, Glisten Advantage, the subsidized liner, is pinging out the IFF to everybody. It's just, hello, I'm here, kind of, telling everybody, and you are picking up that there are heavy patrols around all of the gas giants. And it seems that the reason for this is that the patrols are because they are kind of discouraging people from doing wilderness refueling. They want people to go to the main world to refuel. And you do note that there are currently in system any ship that tries to start to get close to one of the gas giants, these Darian patrol ships will immediately stop them and for a rather aggressive customs inspection. And so the feeling that you get is that they are kind of funneling everybody to the main world for to refuel at the downport. They're trying to funnel money through their port is what they're doing. And so Zerzi Ethel, what did you want to speak to Magnus about?
I just wanted to ask him a couple of questions before we got to our first merchant stop, of course.
Sure. Now's the time.
Obviously in a somewhat private matter.
Yeah, he meets with you in his private office, which is just off the bridge. He says, "Yes, please have a seat. What can I do for you?"
Just want to make sure that I signed up to join your lovely crew, but not so much as a hard-working engineer or space person, but more of a silver-tongued devil, as you will. I have my own fair share of coinage, and having a person who was a high-ranking diplomat of Zodani for 20 plus years could come in handy. And I was also kind of curious, do we have room in a hold if I want to have my own cargo?
Oh, indeed. He tells you. He says, yes. He says, I encourage that kind of go-getter attitude. If you are, or any of the crew are out in port and you find something lucrative, I encourage you to make the deal. Anything that you can do to increase the profits of Skander's trip will be, of course, rewarded once the journey is over. And he quickly states, he says, there's no need for you to spend any of your own money. We have hard currency and precious metals in the form of bullion in our vault. That when the bill, if the bill comes to the ship and it comes through, it will be paid from those funds.
Do we have room in case I want to maybe get a servant or two or robotic servants? Do we have the ability to handle that kind of stuff?
Oh, he wouldn't have a problem. If you wanted to hire, or if you wanted to get like a robot or something, that he has no problem with that.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
How about an indentured servitude?
Yeah, that's probably gonna be looked at a little bit differently in the Sword Worlds. They're not gonna be cool with that. So, yeah, the next 26 or so hours goes by fairly easily. I mean, it's point in a straight line and let her go, and you are, Holger is able to spin the ship and hit deceleration at the halfway mark, and you're coming into Spume. Of course, they don't have a high port. All they have is a small Class C ground port. This is the world data on Spume. It is a rather uninviting world, to be real honest.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing on this is that it is tidally locked, and so and why they put the starport right here? Why you would put it in the hot baked area? I'm at a loss. So
we'll just move it to there.
Right. A side note. So I got this. I get a lot of the world data off of. So you go to Traveler Map and you click on a world, and then you can click to generate the world information, and it sends you to another site. And these are generated from Traveler 5, and I like the idea of Traveler 5 in that it's not even, I wouldn't even call it a toolkit. It's like an entire garage worth of tools, most of which you're never going to use. But a lot of the information that they spit out, as far as these worlds are concerned, is wrong. I'm just going to say it. It's flat out fucking wrong. There is no noble estate on Spume. There just isn't. There would be no reason for a noble estate to be on Spume. Why would they put the starport and the one city of 400 and some odd people in the middle of the baking desert? Why wouldn't they put it here? They could put it in the desert. They don't even have to necessarily put it in the ice caps or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, so that's my irritation with the Traveler 5 world site, is that it's so frequently incorrect. But so Holger, go ahead and make another piloting spacecraft or piloting spaceship plus dexterity check to set down. And because, well, never mind. I was going to say you're at a -1, but it doesn't matter because you rolled boxcars. So, okay. Holger,
Yeah. So
Holger, roll 2D again.
okay. We're like,
Ooh, okay. Holger makes this look easy. So he basically because, and the reason for why there was a -2 to that roll actually, and that you still made it look easy. The down port of Spume is relatively small. I mean, it's a Class C port, and you note that there are a couple of small, free traders and far traders that are on the smaller pads. But you made this look easy, so this is a how do they put it? Close structure is the hull type of the merchant cruiser. Yeah, it is a close structure. So it is not aerodynamic. It basically comes in, more or less like a brick. And you make it look easy. You set her down, and everybody on the bridge, you set her down perfectly smooth, and Magnus Sundstrom just kind of goes, and nods, and then walks off into his office. He does. The captain announces that Mr. Sundstrom has allowed everybody 12 hours of shore leave. So make of it what you can, and he nods and allows you guys to go on about your way. This is kind of what the downport looks like as soon as it comes into focus.
Nice hot desert.
Yes. My God, why is this?
It looks terrible.
As long as we
Yeah,
get
it
to
looks,
air out
it
the
looks
ship.
fucking awful. I don't know why it's not.
yeah. Definitely need to air this place out, man.
Air.
That fucking kid that was in here cleaning or whatever, man, he had gas and that shit just kind of stuck in the air filter or something. It's just shit. God.
There we go.
I hope the desert is more pleasant. Awesome.
So, you guys have 12 hours in Spume. What are you guys grouping up, or are you going out on your own?
I'm going out on my own. I'm going to Generics to gamble at the slot machine.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk up to the pilot and give him $50 for landing so awesomely.
Oh, I'm gonna take it.
Tipping him like he's your fucking chauffeur.
Yeah. I'll
Well
take
done, my
the money, yeah.
Now, I will say that if you come with me on the starport, if they recognize nobility, we'll be treated pretty well.
Oh, right. Well, actually, I was thinking about going to one of the little mining colonies and seeing what it is like for the locals.
I suppose it could be exciting.
Just gonna
to go see what
slumming
miners
it.
are doing.
I have an air raft. Yeah, I have an air raft, but I can't fly it. It's kind of the joke.
I spent my entire life talking to people, not flying things.
Well,
Unfortunately,
Svart, don't you have flyer grav?
Zero.
Well, I mean, he's got it. It's 0, so
Yeah,
at least
it's got it. Yeah,
at least it's not
Well,
a
there you go.
-3, right? You know.
yeah. Yeah,
Hey, may I
get
tag
smart.
along with you to the mines? I'd like to
Yeah,
check it out.
man. Yeah, we like miners.
do we need to wear HEV suits or is it hospitable?
That's a really good question. Let's see what this
Yeah,
code.
way to be on top of shit.
Let's see
Yeah.
what this code actually means. We'll tell you.
No, we need to know the law level too, I guess.
That's probably a good idea because if you're going to if you're going to go out of the town, then law level really starts to apply. It says so. We already know that it is Class C starport, size 5, meaning that it is a little bit bigger than Mars. It's about 8,000 kilometers in diameter. Surface gravity is a whole terrible 0.45. So you guys are going to have quite the bounce in your step. It has atmosphere of 4. It is thin, tainted. You will need to wear a filter mask at the very least.
We'll definitely go suited up with that shit.
I
Right?
think I'll just wear
Everybody?
my suit with my jetpack.
Just get all dressed, getting all dressed up for. I mean, filter masks are available. It's not. They're available all throughout the ship. 0 for hydrographics. So maximum, this place has got like a 5% water. It is a desert world. 2 for population. Hundreds. There's maybe 400 people in the Star Town and Starport combined. There's about 400 people. Some of these smaller outposts, they might be, if it's a large outpost, they might be seeing like 50, 60 people. Most of these smaller prospectors and mining outposts, maybe 20 people at the largest. Usually, like some of the prospecting outposts, maybe 5, 6 people. I mean, there's just not a whole lot of people on this world.
Does my cloth armor have an air conditioner?
No.
No.
Does it have filters?
Maybe. Hold on, and I'll tell you. So this is odd. It says government is 0. There is no government on Spume. And it says
Cool.
there is 0 law level. So you guys can
Cool.
wear and carry whatever you want. You're good to go. And the whole world has a tech level 10. So, like I said, essentially the entire world is run by miners and prospectors that we don't like them government types. And so, they do whatever they want.
So Holger, why do you want to go out to a small mining outpost anyway? If I may.
Well, he wanted us to get information and talk about trade and stuff. If you go to the big stores and all that, that's what everybody else is going to be doing. And so I'm hoping we can find a diamond in the rough of opportunity.
Okay, so the 4 of you head out with Zwart driving the air raft. Here's the stats for the air raft for anybody that needs them. And so you guys head on out. It's probably from the starport. It's probably a good hour in an air raft, depending on if you're at cruise speed, medium, it's probably an hour. If you raise that to high, you can probably make it in 20 minutes.
Oh.
So,
Well, Glenn's flying it.
but I mean, he's not in. It's a big wide open, hard baked desert. You're essentially on Arrakis. There's nothing to run into, and you don't have to worry about worms, so you're okay. You guys are heading out, and Zart's driving, and meanwhile, Cameron, you step into generic bar and grill. So
Is that worm sign?
Is that worm sign? Yes. Oh shit. Yeah, I've been playing too much Dune Awakening, man. If you're out in the open desert and you see worm sign, you're like, oh shit. Because if you get swallowed by the worm, you lose everything. Everything in your inventory, your vehicle. When you respawn, you are naked in your underwear. That's it. Out in the middle of the desert. It's like, great.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hardcore. So for this is probably more for Cody. Generic Bar and Grill is a chain of bars that are bars and steakhouses that are pretty much scattered liberally throughout charted space, and they are most well known for how exactly the same they are. No matter what world you're on, no matter what part of town you're in, if you step into a generic, it looks exactly the same as the last one that you stepped into on another planet, in another starport. And they have extremely cheap cocktails. They have, middle of the road kind of food. And like their beers and wines and liquors are all served in, white cans that just says, whatever kind of whiskey across it or beer across it, and that is kind of their shtick. Evidently, I somehow missed this before. They have a strong employee training program and offer college assistance packages to employees who meet their targets reliably. So, hey, it's a great place to work, right? So
Cool.
So Faye, you make your way into generic, and what are you doing when you step in? They've got the light gray or I guess dark gray floor with kind of the bluish incandescent lighting and a white bar. That's throughout the entire establishment.
I'm going to order some whiskey and a bunch of food and carouse for a minute before I gamble.
Okay, so you probably spend on the meal. You probably spend 15. A whiskey's you spend 20 credits.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, soul dots. I keep forgetting.
Oh man, I'm just getting credits. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Units
And so
currency.
you spend 20, and then what are you doing?
Just talking with people and listening for rumors, that kind of thing.
Go ahead and make a carouse plus social check.
10.
Jeez. Okay. You do pick up something. Let's see here. So, in the bar there is plenty of crews of a couple of the couple of far traders that are in port. There are crews of those ships here, and through your discussions with some of these other ships crews, and multiple drinks are had, you kind of pick up that that the ship Glisten Advantage, that you noted, the subsidized liner when you first came in, was kind of making a tour of the Spume system, and had docked or had sent a boat down to the downport of Spume for like a day, and then it seems that they then continued to kind of tour, the typical thing of showing their guests, oh, this is the Spume system, and we'll fly through the asteroid belt, and this is what miners look like. Basically rich people that can afford to go on a vacation on a private liner You know, they're looking at the working average person as entertainment for them.
Okay.
Aside from that, um, you pick up that the assumption was correct in that the Darians are well, you pick up a couple of pieces of information about the Darians. So evidently, the Darians, and this is coming from a couple of sword worlders. The Darians are a little bit nervous about sword worlders because the sword worlders have wanted to kind of make a passage through Darian space into the Foreven sector, and that so far that hasn't exactly happened or panned out, and it's still kind of in the planning stages. But the thought of this has made the Darian Confederation a little bit nervous, and so they are in Spume specifically. They are making sure that all ships are avoiding wilderness refueling, so that they can make their way to the main world. And once at the port, their ships are then registered into the port registry. So they can kind of keep an eye on all ships that are coming through rather than ships that pop into the system and then secretly refuel at a gas giant and jump back out. Aside from that, there's been no real naval buildup. The Darians haven't sent extra ships. These are the ships that are always here in the Spume system. So there's no military buildup or anything like that. Is basically what you pick up.
All right.
So you guys in the air raft make your way to a small mining community. This community has it's a good sized mining camp of about 55 people.
Wow.
And you kind of sit down, and out of one of the administrative buildings of this mining camp, you see a guy come out, and he's wiping his brow. He's wearing a respirator mask, and he puts a big floppy hat on to keep the sun from beating on him. And he comes up, and through his filter mask, he says, "Oh, hello, welcome to our camp. What can I help you with?"
We're just passing through, and our the captain of our ship is interested in negotiating and establishing trade, and we thought we would skip all the middle people and maybe come right to the source. What do you guys have surplus of around?
Well, we have as you can see, we're a mining operation. Specifically, we're mining cobalt. He says, "Would your captain be interested in purchasing some?"
Well, I think he might be. Do you have samples? Anything maybe interesting?
Oh, you want
You
to?
know,
Are you interested in handing out samples?
I asked him if he has some samples for we to test the cobalt.
Oh,
And, to check the purity of his stuff,
certainly,
right?
certainly. So, yeah, he's got. He says, "Well, yeah, come on, come follow me, and you can come test it out all you like." And you head on over to the. They've got basically a processing facility, and he leads you inside, and he kind of pulls his filter mask off, and the air conditioning is suddenly very nice. You're like, "Oh, this is so much better than being out in that baked sun." And they have some samples set up. What are you sampling the ore with?
Well, I have some science chemistry skill. I could do a sample test.
Sure,
With,
and you've got a
yeah.
toolkit too, don't you? A science kit.
Yeah, I do have a science.
Yeah.
It's one of those basic kids science kits that
It's
used
a
to get
very
at Toys R
basic
Us.
kit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got an electronic one from Radio Shack too.
That's pretty much.
So go ahead and make a science chemistry plus I guess that'd be education check.
Education.
Yeah.
8.
Perfect. That's all you needed. So yeah, I mean it tests positive for cobalt. So yeah, its purity is it's not as good as some of the mining operations that go on directly just over the border in the Sword Worlds Confederation, but it's probably about 85% pure.
So it might be worth trading into the area that we're going towards, but not so much for trading out.
Yeah.
Like back to the Sword Worlds.
Well,
Wonder.
Yeah, the Sword Worlds Confederation is well known in the region for the purity of its mined metals and ore.
What's the price?
The
Is it
price-
cheaper? Is it cheaper than in the Sword Worlds?
That's a good question. Take a look here.
Do we have anybody with broker in this group?
Yeah, we brought him with us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that
mean
would be,
that's
Zerzy.
Zerzy.
So
Right? What's your
Yeah,
name? How do you pronounce it?
Zerzy works.
Zerzy. Yeah, the big Zers.
I'm still in
Zers
my
man.
ATV suit.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll like undo the head.
I've got like 2 holsters on. One has my pistol, and the other one has assorted jerky sticks that I chew on all the time. It's just it's like it's big enough to fit the fucking big stoolie that the Sword Worlders have, but it doesn't have the pistol in it. It's just snacks and shit. And I'm always, chewing on a stick of something.
The only weapon you see on me
Yeah.
is a fancy-looking laser pistol.
Okay, so Svart's got his dagger and long blade, and so
My long blade's got the most damage of anything I've got, and that includes the ACR.
right, yeah, the blade, yeah, that's sometimes true. The only downside is you got to get up in their face with it, but
Yeah.
you're a young sword worlder. Getting up in people's faces is
Yeah.
kind of
Is what I do.
that's a genetic trait.
Yeah.
So he tells you, he says, we've got 80 tons available right now that is surplus that we could sell. We have a regular buyer that comes through from the Darien Confederation, but we've got a surplus of 80 tons. We usually sell it for about 1,000 credits per ton.
And what does it sell for?
As much as we can get it.
Well, I mean, that's what he sells it to the purchaser for. He doesn't know what they're selling it for.
I mean, Zerzy, you want to try to negotiate a price?
Well, gentlemen, the captain told me, I think he told you all also, that we're supposed to look for really good deals. And
Yeah.
buy
But this
more
is the
clothing.
this is the lower grade stuff. I mean,
How
surely,
How about
surely they maybe
700?
ask him for 6 and see what he does.
I would just I'm like, do you have a way of transporting this to our ship? We're only here for a very limited time if we decide to buy something.
He says, yeah, we could have it over to the starport in inside of an hour.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you're wanting 1,000 per ton, you said?
He says, yeah. He says that's what we usually sell it for. Yeah.
Well, this is surplus. This is surplus. We need to get it. We need to get it lower.
My friend is very correct here. We're here to buy off. We're just buying your surplus. I mean, this sample's 85%. I mean, I'd have to look at your logs and stuff to see what your average is, but I don't have time for that. So give me your we need to make money now price, and maybe we can have a deal.
Go ahead and make a broker plus your choice, either intellect or education.
Well,
How
I
about
don't have the broker
psionics?
skill. I have
How-
admin,
can-
I have diplomat, persuade.
You don't have
advocate.
broker?
No, you had me get like advocate and diplomacy, admin.
Go ahead and make a diplomacy plus intellect check.
Here's
Can I
what they're
use this?
social.
Can I use the psi?
He could. I mean,
It depends on what skills he has, and he might not want to reveal that. At this, I don't know.
pretty much most
Just fine.
sword worlders are. I mean, if he's dressed in a turban and whatnot, most people are going to automatically assume that he's Jadani. And the assumption, of course, with most people is going to be that he can read minds.
Would I be able to
That's
do
why-
diplomat social or diplomat and
Yeah,
Or-
you could do diplomat social.
okay.
I love his turban.
So you got a 12. Yeah.
Alan Freyr's luxury.
He
Oh, go ahead.
he would be willing to. He says, "Well, we could sell it for 900 a ton."
And what does this psi say?
900's nice, but what sounds better is I will buy all 80 for 700.
Ooh. Make a persuade plus social check. Okay, so he kind of thinks about it, and he says, "Well, we're gonna have to be the ones to deliver it to the starport. How about 800 per ton?"
What my character would know that this is something the captain would want, right? From having this discussion with him. I don't want to like show up and be like, I bought a shitload of cobalt.
I bought 80 tons of cobalt that you don't want.
Well, but you know what? This planet has like no law level. If you just break the deal and walk away, nothing is going to happen. It's going to be fine. So it's a win-win situation, isn't it?
So if we look we look at the cargo. So he has already. This is stuff he's already got. So he's got common industrial goods, light machinery, fabrication equipment, things like that. Cobalt, of course, can be used in fabrication equipment to construct all manner of things. Usually, a lot of it's going to be electronics, things like that, batteries, things like that. You do know that the next stop is going to be Kondaria, which even though it is only 1 parsec away from the Darian capital, it is actually an independent world, and Kondaria only has a tech level of 5. So theoretically, if stopping at Kondaria, if you were to sell some of these common industrial goods, and hand out samples to generate a future need and desire for equipment from the Sword Worlds, selling the cobalt to go along with some of that fabrication equipment could generate quite a bit of profit.
Okay.
So,
Would
Well,
well, while we're all sitting here discussing it, as all that's coming on, I mean, why don't you ask him for repeat business? Maybe try to get the price down in an agreement to try to get others to buy his surplus at another time for a higher rate.
Well, I gotta first see what happens to my persuade because he offered 900, I wanted 700, and then I persuaded,
Yeah.
and he hasn't responded yet.
he said that, well, he did. He responded and he said that, considering the fact that he has to be the one to supply the delivery vehicles to take it to the starport, he would be willing to let it go for 800 per ton.
Okay. What's your name, by the way? I don't think I ever got your name.
That's a good question. He looks like he's probably a Joseph.
Listen, Joseph. Is there anything you guys really need here? Perhaps instead of trying to give you currency, maybe you prefer old-fashioned bartering.
That's a good question too.
Yeah, this place sucks. They probably need something.
Mm-hmm.
It'd probably be cheaper to give them something than to buy something from them.
how about some protective clothing, including items made of advanced material like gloves,
Mm.
tools, and appliances, all geared to better protectivity?
They need air conditioning.
Right. Yeah. So,
Would that be a luxury good,
air conditioning?
Common
or is that a
industrial,
common industrial good?
It would probably be a common industrial good. Yeah, I mean, if you were, he says, if you were willing to trade 20 tons of common industrial goods, air conditioning, and air processor units, then he says that he could let the remainder of that 80 tons of cobalt go for 500 per ton.
What
So
if we
you're
throw that?
wanting. So what exactly would I be paying?
So 500 per ton.
What's the industrial goods worth?
Be 40,000 credits for 80 tons of cobalt, and you'd agree to trade 20 tons of common industrial goods.
Now, when he's saying trade, is he saying he's going to pay for these common industrial goods, or is he
No.
wanting that on
No.
top of the five?
Right.
what
The 20
is
tons of common industrial goods brings the price down to 500 per ton from 800.
Right. So, what is the base price of the common industrial goods?
It is.
I guess that's in the.
We're learning economics here.
I have no idea what book it's in.
It's in the trade goods of the core rulebook. Let's see here. Common industrial goods, they usually go for about 10,000 a ton.
So at 20
price.
tons of that, yeah,
He's making
that's not a good
200,000.
deal. Yeah, that's a duck move, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm getting raw cobalt, and you're getting brand new, really nice air conditioners and all kinds of other stuff. 20 tons of it for raw rocks. That's not a deal that I am comfortable making. If I made that deal, I'd be kicked off the ship and stuck living here. And while some parts of this planet may be beautiful, me in the heat while I am Zodani, I don't like it that much.
Go ahead and make a persuade plus social check.
We don't want to report back with bad math. You know what I mean?
He said. So he says. He kind of laughs and he says, well, you'd be wrong. There aren't really any better nice places on Spume. Says, what you see is kind of what you get. He says, but I can see your point. I can see your point. He says, how about 5 tons of common industrial goods, and I'll sell the cobalt for 500 tons, or 500 credits per ton.
So that would be what 100,000 worth of goods plus an additional 500 times 80, or 500 times 800, or 80 tons. Sorry, no, that's too much.
Well,
I need a calculator.
He says, that's my deal. Final offer: 5 tons of consumables, and the cobalt is yours for 500 per ton.
That's 4,500. That's only 45,000.
500 per
That's how much
ton. 500 per ton at 80 tons is 40,000.
Yeah. Plus a half a ton of. Did he say 5 tons?
5 tons.
That's 5,000, isn't it?
500.
No, that 5 tons. Yeah.
Base price is 100,000 per ton.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's not. He's trying. It's just not going to work, man.
Nope.
That's all. It's okay. I had a bad idea. I apologize.
No, I'm sorry. It's 10,000. So it'd be 50,000 for the common industrial goods. It's 10,000.
Still,
So we're back to the 900.
We're still back to 90,000.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
say,
the same. That's the same 900 per ton.
I'm gonna respectfully have to deny that, but if you think of anything else, or if you have anything you would like to let us know, I mean, I would love to talk to you, and if you have any really good information, I'm willing to pay for it.
Make a diplomacy plus social check. So he says, so you're like, well, we're gonna have to say no to that, and the 4 of you kind of start to walk out. And he says, well, wait. He says, so I assume that your captain is going to be selling this cobalt, fairly soon, right?
Maybe.
I'll just slowly turn and be like, what the captain does, the captain does. That's not my job. But
well, if you can drum up some repeat business for me, and be kind enough to mention where you got this cobalt to send their buyers back to Spume, he says, I could go with the 5 tons of common industrial goods and let you have the cobalt for 300 per ton. So 24,000 for the 80 tons.
Yeah, 24,000 plus the
5 tons. 5 tons of common industrial goods.
That brings it lower than the base price total across. I mean, at least then we're getting a deal based off just the base price. If you rock on selling it and do good rolls and you're finagling, then it'll work out. You might have to use Streetwise or something to sell. Do you have good in that?
Me, no. I'm all about high-end dealings per se.
Up and up, the legal end of the dealings.
Yeah.
I'll look at him. I'll say,
Streetwise would be a good one to pick up, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, do you have any alcohol here also?
He says, oh, we do, but it's all that crap that is brought in to generic. He says, we don't have any good stuff.
Well, I like this deal. I'll shake his hand and agree to the deal then.
Okay, he will have 80 tons of cobalt delivered to your docking port at the starport within about an hour.
Excellent.
What are you guys up to next?
Do you want to go take a look at the automated trader plant?
What do you think could be there?
Like I said, there's a whole lot of nothing here. I mean,
Yeah.
the automation is just basically pulling rocks out of the ground. Like that's
Right.
that's all that goes on here.
Yeah. Maybe we could see if we could purchase those records of all the ships that's come through because from the fuel depot.
Sounds
Since
like
they're
we could go
keeping
back
track
into
of
the
it.
main starport.
Yeah, you can
Wait,
go.
but I'm the one that knows about that, not you guys,
Yeah,
right?
We can figure out
target.
somebody to loot.
I mean, if we're wanting to do
You guys
looting,
are pirates this time.
we're not pirates, man. My dude was a space cop for his whole term. I can't just automatically start offing random civilians.
I was the
hell?
cop too, but you know,
but
I'm young
but
and
no, I mean,
impressionable.
does he know of anybody that crafts or is there any other markets this guy might suggest that is not kobold? Is that all that's here?
I mean, not really. There's really nothing else on Spume. There's a whole lot of nothing on Spume.
All
Do they
right,
have-
well, yeah.
I'm gonna
They
drink.
have
We're gonna spend 12 hours drinking, I think, or the next
let's
10
go.
hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go get fucked up. Let's go
Okay.
get fucked up then.
So,
So
I don't
they-
know what else to do.
so
Do they
you-
mine gold in the
there
asteroid belt?
there probably is some gold, silver, platinum mining that's going on. Probably there. While there is probably some on Spume, there's probably more of it out in along with iron and nickel out in the asteroid belts. But aside from this, there's not a whole lot on Spume. You guys, I mean, especially Xerxes, you guys kind of get the impression that this entire 12-hour shore leave on Spume was probably more a test by Magnus Sundstrom to see what you guys could come up with. To see, to kind of test the waters to see how you guys do. So the four of you come back into port, and Faye, you can make a gambling plus intellect check.
Wow, I got a 10 somehow. That's amazing.
Okay, so you win 65 credits.
Yay. That's wonderful.
Just playing video poker. You basically spend the rest of your shore leave, drinking in the generic bar. All of you kind of meet back up. There are some of the other crewmates that wander into generic because there, like I said, there's really not a whole lot else on Spume. Everybody make.
Are they gonna tell me? Oh, sorry. Are you guys gonna tell me about what you were up to, though?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we got narrated in, but yeah. Well, we're gonna tell you that we went and bought a bunch of cobalt and.
But you didn't even invite me, and you said that we were gonna be the top crew.
Well, you spoke first and said you were going off on your own.
Well, you know what? I got valuable information at the bar, and I'm not going to share it with you unless you tell the captain that I was part of the deal. So that's how
What?
it is.
Are you holding me this for ransom?
That's just her thing. She's part of the team. It'll be fine. Yeah. Faye
Okay.
is a solid sensor operator, man.
May I use my
All right,
dagger?
I'll tell you guys about the ship information then, if you promise to cut me in.
So everybody
Right.
can make a recon plus intellect check. Oof.
Oh, go ahead. Ooh, bro. I'm not
14.
doing well.
Wow.
I got 8, so
Okay.
I just barely made it.
I got 6.
Okay, so Holger and Faye, while you're sitting there drinking, and Faye's reading Holger the riot act about going off on his own, and and she's kind of side eyeing him, saying like, "You said we were going to be the top crew." And the two of you there are a number of video screens, and the generic bar is offering off-track betting. And one of the few pastimes on Spume, because there's nothing else to do and there's wide open desert, is racing. And
Yes.
the racing, pull it up here. They are using G racers, and they offer off-track betting. Here.
I'm there. Let's go.
Well, like I said, they offer it in the bar for you to watch, and you can make bets here at the bar electronically. G racer, it is right there. 104.
I definitely want to spend some time by going by the fuel depot and seeing if I can figure out a way to get those records.
So those are available
the
at
ships.
the starport. So
Yeah.
you can, for 20 credits, you can get information on every ship that has docked at the starport. However, further information as far as ships that pass through the system is classified.
Hmm.
Do I
How-
know that you
how
want to
diff-
find this information out, Holger?
I mean, I've been kind of vocal about it.
And do you want to take the stealthy route, or do you want to go the more direct route on finding information?
We should do both.
I can go talk to whatever administrative people they have.
I mean, yeah, we're being tested and we've gathered this information. We have to suck this information dry. I mean, he said he wanted to know a little of everything. So now we know they have weak cobalt, and we've gotten some of it, and now if we get the names of the ship, but now if you get the classified stuff, that's good shit.
So these are
And
the vehicles
Faye
that
is
they
going
use
to
for
gamble
racing.
on racing. Wow.
Nice.
So they're basically air rafts that are essentially nothing more than grav lifters with a seat attached to them and some fairing, capable of subsonic speeds, and they race these through the desert canyons, at ludicrous speeds. And
Do any of them have a lucky name?
no, but they are all variously kind of endorsed by various mining companies, or there is one that is endorsed entirely by generic bar. They have their own racer.
Yeah, I'm betting on the generic bard one.
Okay.
Let's do
Faye,
this.
How much are
don't
you
waste
betting?
your money, Faye.
200 credits.
Okay. Is anybody else betting?
I'll bet 500 credit
Okay.
on a random one.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm headed. I think me and Xerxes are headed to the starport. I don't know if Bart is coming with us or not.
Okay.
I don't do gambling because I've gambled enough with diplomats and with laws and stuff like this. My guy, I feel that they are rigged.
So your racer for Casey and Faye, it comes in third place, which it does place. You win back your bet plus 100 credits.
Excellent. Gambling pays, I'm telling you.
Nice.
There was a guy in our Pirates of Drenex campaign that got into a series of poker games, and he just kept rolling over and over, like boxcars. He walked out of there with like 3,000 credits.
Yeah, it was
So you guys go over to the starport. Like I said, it is 20 credits to get basic information of ships that have come through the port. But
I definitely want to drop that 20 off while I'm, and I want to ask a whole lot of questions
okay.
and stuff and make point at the screen. Basically I'm also trying to do this transaction while being a big distraction.
Okay.
So that way, if my man Xerxes is going to go and steal the information, I don't know if Fart was coming or not, but
Yeah, I'm coming. I gotta protect you guys.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
said
so,
I was
yeah.
stealing it. I was gonna go and use my diplomacy.
well, I'm getting you to the office. How you want to go in.
So you guys go into the Starport Records office, and you step up. You pay the 20 credits, and you're going over. Basically, you get the same information that the ship's boat from the subsidized liner Glisten Advantage has docked at the port. They spent roughly 24 to 25 some odd hours here. And it is listed in the notes about it is that a sip a can of generic water. It's noted in the notes with that Glisten Advantage is also taking a tour of the system. And the note that's attached is essentially not only for anybody that's looking at the records, but it serves the purpose of you don't need to report this ship if it goes too close to any gas giants. And that note is also kind of being passed on to the system patrol boats to just leave it alone. It's okay. We've already cleared them. You do note that there are some other ships that have been in system, or rather in port. They are on my list of ships. There is a scout courier ship that has docked at Spume, just listed as SJ8901. And there is a seeker mining ship that is currently docked named Pox Rocks.
those are currently docked.
Pox Rocks is currently docked. SJ8901 left a week ago.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've got that basic information, so that way, if we end up if Zert and them bail out and do bad, at least we're bringing something back. And I'll kind of pull out my pen and as I'm getting ready to putting notes on this file to turn it into Magnus, I'll put all our names on there.
Okay.
Cody, Faye, I'll act like they were here doing this as well. Because, the degenerate gamblers, it's up to us to kind of lift them up a little bit until they can get, in their zone into the ship.
Holger, go ahead and make a deception plus intellect check.
11.
So you're asking a bunch of inane questions about these ships.
Hell yeah.
And you can see that the girl behind the counter is just kind of getting irritated, answering this slew of questions. While she is distracted, the path to the door to the administrator's office is there's nobody guarding it and nobody keeping an eye on it. If Xerxes wants to, he can make a stealth plus dex check to slip past.
I'm a very old man. I was just gonna walk up and ask to see the guy in charge.
Okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead and make a.
I'm not a.
I mean, she's irritated now, so go ahead and make a persuasion plus social check.
For the record, Holger, my guy is an old man who's not stealthy at all.
All right. Well, you know,
What was it? Persuasion plus social?
Intellect. Or persuasion plus social, right.
All right. I was gonna say.
So she goes. She holds a finger up. She goes, just a moment, sir, to Holger, and she says, and she hits a button, and she says, yes, there's a gentleman here that would like to speak with you, and he says, go ahead and send him in, and she says, okay, you can go on back, and she, buzzes you in, and you step into this office, and there's a guy sitting behind a desk. He's got, basically just a basic button-up shirt, but he's got the collar undone and his tie's a little bit loose, and he's got his sleeves rolled up. And he says, "Yeah, welcome to Spume Starport. What can I do for you?"
I'm standing there in like all my like fancy clothing and stuff. I'm just like, yes, I just wanted to have a seat and discuss some port business with you, if I could. My name is Zuri Atal.
This is
I am.
well, Mr. Zuri Atal. What kind of business are we talking about?
Information gathering.
He seems flummoxed. He's not sure what it is that you're looking for.
I just want to discuss the comings and goings of ships in this area, and just see what you're willing to let me know.
Go ahead and make a
And-
diplomacy plus social check. So he says, is that a Jodani accent? We don't get very many Jodani that come through here. He says, there's not really a whole lot to tell. We don't. The only ships that really pass through here are traders. Occasionally a large merchant cruiser comes through, but for the most part, they're going to be small tramp freighters that make their way to and fro from the Sword Worlds into the Darian Confederation and back. He says, there's really not a whole lot. We, of course, have our own fleet here at Spume for customs and whatnot, but we don't have any real naval entanglements. We haven't had a naval ship come through in months.
Well, yes, I am Zoldani, a noble Zoldani, if you will.
He says, "Oh,
My
welcome, Your Grace."
Thank you. I heard there was something about a scout ship was around here not that long ago.
He says, "Yeah, it was a private courier ship." He says, "I'm not exactly sure what their deal was, but yeah, SJ89 something or other. Yeah, they're a private courier vessel."
Could I look at that file, perhaps, and maybe I could help ease the heat around this area?
Make it one more diplomacy plus social check. So he pulls it up and he shows you the screen, and he says, "If you'd like, I can give it to you on a wafer." He copies it to a wafer and hands it to you, and he says, basically what it's showing on the screen is not a whole lot. The customs inspection of the ship listed it as being in good working order. If some of the notes, good working order if somewhat a lack of cleanliness. But aside, which isn't unusual for a scout ship, it said it had a crew of 2, and they weren't carrying any cargo. This is
Okay.
they listed their flight plan as moving to. Their flight plan was listed as moving. Their next stop was Condaria, and then moving to Dorania.
All
Well,
right.
I will gladly take this. I'll say we're gonna be traveling around here, me and my ship. But if you see anything that kind of sticks out, let me know. And a friend of a Zodani, that's a pretty rare thing.
He,
And I could always use more friends.
he says, "I think we can make that happen, sir." And he shakes your hand. We'll go ahead and break here. And
I was also going to pay him $50.
You don't need to pay a government official. So we'll pick this up next week at 6 o'clock on Wednesday.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Had a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right. I will see you next week.
Night.
Have a good night.